because she loves me. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you? Learn something from this. You go to bed at night, you lay there, and you take responsibility for yourself.
After years of saying absolutely nothing, Tyra Banks has finally stepped into the fire, confronting the long, swirling accusations that she traumatized contestants on America's Next Top Model. And let's just say, this response is not exactly helping her case. For decades, former models have whispered and then outright declared that what happened behind the scenes wasn't mentorship, it was manipulation. Stories of racism, toxic work culture, and careers allegedly derailed before they even began. As old clips resurface and the internet dissects them frame by frame, the nostalgia has completely evaporated, replaced by one uncomfortable question: was Tyra ever really guiding these girls, or was she orchestrating their downfall?
Danielle, you went to the dentist, but you refused to have your gap closed. Do you really think you can have a CoverGirl contract with the gap in your mouth? Yeah, why not? This is all people see. Easy, beautiful CoverGirl.
Now, Tyra is admitting that things went too far, further than she ever imagined. But the explanation she's offering has people blinking twice, like, wait, what? When you really think about it, it's wild what reality TV was allowed to get away with back then. America's Next Top Model debuted in 2003, ran for 24 seasons until 2018, and became a full-blown phenomenon. Created by Tyra herself, the show had young women lined up around the block for a shot at stardom, and viewers glued to their screens week after week. Each cycle delivered dramatic photo shoots, high-stakes eliminations, and a rotating panel of fashion insiders. But through every twist and cast change, Tyra remained the constant, which means she wasn't just hosting the chaos, she was approving it. From the infamous weekly challenges to the uncomfortable on-set behavior, the tone of the show had her fingerprints all over it. And nothing defined the series more than those extreme makeovers, transformations designed to strip the girls of who they were and rebuild them into something marketable, whether they liked it or not.
So you know what I'm doing? Have you ever seen that movie Rosemary's Baby starring Mia Farrow? You haven't? Well, I'll explain what her hair looked like in that movie. It was a little bit lighter than yours, and it was this short.
Oh my God.
So you're gonna have to say bye-bye to Beauty Queen.
We're not just cutting this just to cut your hair. This fits your face.
Your face is strong enough to handle that. Cassandra, why are you crying? I love my hair. It'll always grow back.
And when we say extreme, we mean extreme to the point of emotional whiplash. Even contestants who swore they'd do anything for their dreams found themselves blindsided, staring at the mirror in shock as their hair, and sometimes their sense of identity, was hacked away. If a model hated her cut or broke down over a drastic change, the camera zoomed in closer, not to comfort her, but to capture every tear. There were no quiet reassurances off to the side, no gentle explanations, just pressure. And if someone hesitated, Tyra would still push it through, sometimes dialing the makeover up even further, as if the breakdown itself was part of the assignment. Ratings over reality. Take Gina, for example, who was living with alopecia. She was forced to remove her wig and shave what little hair she had left, while Tyra framed it as selling alopecia as beautiful. Despite Gina repeatedly sharing how deeply painful that experience had been for her growing up. It was empowerment on paper, but humiliation in practice.
I've been accused of being a man because I have no hair. I was told for so long that I wasn't beautiful. Constantly battling and trying to prove yourself and be feminine is exhausting.
And then there's the story of Bree Skullick from season 5, whose entire livelihood revolved around her hair, only for it to be chopped off anyway. They cut off her moneymaker knowing full well she was signed as a hair model, and within a week, her agency dropped her. No win, no prize money, no backup plan. Within a year, she was homeless and in rehab. But the transformations didn't stop at hair. Some girls were pressured into altering their teeth and other parts of their appearance, all in the name of high fashion. Even when contestants forced smiles and powered through, they were still trapped inside a pressure cooker engineered for emotional explosion. Sure, it was a modeling competition, but it was reality TV first, and the producers knew exactly how to push buttons. Trauma wasn't off limits, it was material. In season 10, Marvita and Fatima opened up during interviews about experiencing homelessness, only for their very first photo shoot to be homeless themed, instructed to relive every painful emotion for the camera. The show framed it as awareness, as charity, but making them reenact one of the lowest points of their lives felt less like advocacy and more like exploitation. And in cycle 4, when Kaylin learned a close friend had passed away and was visibly shattered, she was then told the next shoot would take place in a cemetery. The timing alone felt almost cruel.
it's really messed up. I mean, I know nobody knows the circumstances, but I just don't want to be here.
And then there were 7. Well, I hope none of you are afraid of tight and confined, creepy space. Follow me.
It took everything in my body not to just give up right at that moment.
Cameras were planted in every corner of that house, even the bathroom, so the idea that producers didn't know what was happening feels almost impossible. Moments like the cemetery shoot sparked backlash because staging glamour in a graveyard already toes the line of disrespect. But on this show, that kind of shock value was business as usual. And here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. You'd think Tyra, as a black woman navigating the fashion industry herself, would tread carefully around racial stereotypes. Instead, the show leaned into them. There were race-swapping photo shoots where contestants darkened or lightened their skin and altered their features, images that many now describe as blackface and blatant cultural appropriation. Creative director Jay Manuel later admitted he felt deeply uneasy about those concepts, but stayed quiet because he was told to just do his job. Silence, it seems, was part of the culture.
In Cycle 4, the whole race swapping shoot, I was very uncomfortable. My parents grew up in South Africa. They're from South Africa. Under apartheid. So you've got to understand the kind of the family I grew up in. I'm biracial. It just was very uncomfortable.
With all that emotional labor, and let's be real, emotional damage, you'd assume the contestants were at least compensated fairly. They weren't. Each girl reportedly received just $40 a week, and many have said they were constantly hungry. And hunger breeds irritability, tension, conflict, which just so happened to make for compelling television. The models were crammed together, the pressure always simmering, and producers were ready to capture every snapping point. When the show finally ended and old clips began circulating online, the public started asking why no one spoke up sooner. Former contestants began sharing that, more often than not, they left without jobs, and many of the shoots they endured trauma for couldn't even be used in their portfolios. Tyra initially responded with, "Been seeing the post about the insensitivity of some past America's Next Top Model moments, and I agree with you, looking back, those were some really off choices. I appreciate your honest feedback, and I'm sending so much love and viral hug." A statement that many felt barely scratched the surface of the damage done. Now she's acknowledging the show crossed lines, saying it shifted from breaking barriers to something more like a boot camp of psychological endurance, but she insists it wasn't really her fault, that the audience demanded bigger, wilder moments, with over 100 million viewers tuning in and pushing the show to escalate. According to her, ratings drove the machine. The internet, however, is not buying that narrative, and the responses have been loud. Now, y'all will not gaslight us into forgetting how Tyra terrorized some of those contestants' BFFR. She both had this moment and also made those moments often herself, the North remembers. Okay, honestly, as someone who watched a lot of America's Next Top Model, I do feel complicit. I don't know if I could have stopped her because I never tried. I was too afraid of Miss J and Jay Manuel killing me with a crossbow. You guys kept on pushing Tyra. I was 7 years old. Why are we shifting blame? So now the real question is this: was it the viewers who created the monster or the person steering the ship? Let me know what you think down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one.